lot of controversy circling the Indianapolis Colts after last game's loss towards the Tennessee Titans' first rival game of the year. We wound up losing. It was a close game. We could have pulled it off, but we just does not seem to find the right click on offense or defense. It's just a big roller coaster for Colts fans. Nobody knows how the season is going to fold. Most people are giving up on the year. Most people think we still have faith. And you know, the Colts Nation in general, looking at this team and looking at the fan base is just a big cluster bomb. It's just nobody knows what to, you got content creators going against each other. You got fans going against each other. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But if you look at the bright side of it, it's like we're 0-3 against good playoff contending teams. It's like the Colts are good. When they're healthy, they're good against formidable opponents. But you're not going to win every game. A lot of people didn't even expect us to win the first 5 games going into the season. This is the toughest spread in the year. So nobody really expected us to have a good outcome anyway. But the fact that we're banged up, Carson Wentz is playing he's playing a pretty decent game, even though he still holds onto the football a long time. But the fact that he's playing a decent game, but there's no offensive line protection. The game plan's there, but we're just not executing on offense or defense. It's like, what more do you want from the Colts? What more do you want? Everybody's pretty much banged up. We got like 14 people on the IR on the injured list like 2 weeks ago. We had like 14 people on there, and it's still a long list. We got people playing hurt. Big Q was playing hurt, but his injury got worse. He had to sit out. He couldn't even play the rest of the game. Darius Leonard's out there playing hurt. You can tell by his performances. Julian Blackman just came back from an injury. Nobody knows when T.Y. Hilton's returning. It's just Carson Wentz is out there on 2 bad ankles. Marlon Mack, a healthy scratch. Mike Strachan wasn't used, healthy scratch. Paris Campbell just came back. He's barely used. It's like, what more do you want the Colts to do out here? I mean, it just comes down to execution. We had chances to score, but just didn't convert. What are you going to blame the refs? Oh yeah, the refs were terrible in Tennessee. That's just the narrative. It's going to be like that. It's going to be like that when you have home field advantage. So you just got to play harder. You got a game to play still. That 30-yard pass interference play. Some people say it was a 50-50 call. No. Xavier Rhodes is a veteran. That's 30 yards. You gave up. You talking about they were tussling. It could have been, play ball. They could have played on. No. I'm not letting that slide. Xavier Rhodes is a veteran, experienced. He has to be disciplined on those certain scenarios. I will not let that live. Now, Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz was out there injured. Nobody knew. He was game time decision going into the game. Nobody knew if he was going to play or not. And some Colts fans knew that Carson Wentz is a fighter regardless. So we just knew he was going to play. And he wound up playing. Did it wind up hurting us? Maybe so. But if you're a contending team and Carson Wentz is, he's a fighter no matter what, he's going to go play. Now, did his efforts, did it harm us? No, because with him on the field, it didn't make a difference. We still could have won the game. Now you're telling me, go with Jacob Eason. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Go with Brett Huntley. We'll figure it out. It's Colts. We'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. But this is the same energy you would have had if we would have started these two and still struggled. We still would have had this issue. Who were you going to blame if Brent Huntley and Jacob Eason was in the game and they pretty much wet the bed? But then you have Carson in there who's pretty much showing us life, was one of the solid reasons why we were still in the game. Him and Naheem Hines were 2 of the solid reasons why we still almost had a chance of winning. We had a chance of winning. I said we were going to win the game, but we had a chance with those guys in there. But instead, you want to take the backup in either Eason or Huntley, pretty much Huntley, because he won the backup job. You're going to ride the coattails with him until Carson Wentz is fully healthy. But then if the Colts, lose out until he returns, it's the end of the season. But if Carson Wentz is there, he shows you life. And they're still clicking and still trying to figure it out. What's the issue here? Do you want Carson Wentz do you want the starting quarterback to play and try to perform and win you some games? Or do you want the backup quarterback to, go out there and pretty much wet the bed? Because he's untapped potential. He's a veteran. He has experience. But is he really going to go out there and win the game for you? Like, you want a guy that's going to, Carson Wentz, like I said, He's not playing bad in my eyes. He could be better, but if you want to have the backups come in and starting reps to go out there the whole game instead of using Carson at all, it's just going to be worse than what we were in. We wouldn't even been close if Brent Huntley and Jacob Eason played in that game. You can't say that. You want this team to make the playoffs. You want this team to contend. Why would you go out there and rest Carson Wentz? You talking about, yeah, the situation could have got worse. He could have got hurt worse. Yeah, but it's game time decision. If he thinks he can play, let him go play. Of course, the offensive line is not helping because it's not healthy either. But he only got sacked twice. Of course, he had quarterback hurries and everything, but that wasn't the issue of why we lost that game. The quarterback play was not the issue why we lost the game. Yes, you can blame the refs and the flags. Yes, you can blame the inconsistency on both sides of the field. But the quarterback play is not the problem. It's not. The problem is, when we were last week, before the Titans game, you asked Coach Frank to be aggressive. So what did he do? He go 100% on fourth downs. He went for it on fourth down the whole game. And, hey, it wound up kicking us in the butt. We just couldn't convert. We got 3 turnovers, couldn't score. If the game plan is there, we just got to execute. I think that's the real problem with the Colts. It's not Carson Wentz. It's just flat-out execution. We got to execute. The plays are there. The designs are there. The third down conversions on offense and defense was terrible. We didn't convert on third down. And then when we wound up on defense, we couldn't stop third down. So I think if we would have stopped them on third down, we would have had a way better chance of winning. Michael Pittman Jr. had some drops. Of course, Carson Wentz overthrew him on some plays. And of course, there weren't some flags called. But we didn't even we had 2 running backs active. We tried to use Ashton Doolin and Michael Pittman Jr. on jet sweeps. Terrible idea. Doolin went -7 yards on his play. Michael Pittman Jr., he gained yards, but that was a one-time thing for both receivers. The game plan was there. It just wasn't executed. We didn't use Marley Cox like he was supposed to. Naheem Hines showed his athleticism, showed his spurts. We didn't use him like we were supposed to. We had 2 running backs, and we only used 3 wide receivers and 2 tight ends the whole game. Like, what more do you want Carson Wentz to go out there and do? What more do you want him to do? I mean, I don't understand. We got all these guys. We got Kiki Kuti on a practice squad, who's a veteran wide receiver, who could have came in and made some noise. Pascal, Pittman Jr., and Paris Campbell are the only 3 receivers that I remember being active on the receiving corps to catch a football. Naheem Hines was a receiver too, but that doesn't really count. But that's it. That's all we used. And the defense was the same old defense. Same scheme, getting dotted up. It is what it is. I can tell you why Carson Wentz wasn't the reason. When the Titans lose their star receiver in A.J. Brown, Julio Jones is held to 3 receptions. And then there's still, Ryan Tannehill isn't even being the elite Ryan Tannehill we're used to. Ryan Tannehill could have really had a way better game than he did. He ran like Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, he had a solid game, but he could have destroyed us even worse than what he did. They literally handed us the game. We could have won that game. We just didn't execute. That's just the moral of the story. But you guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. You think Carson Wentz should have sat out, and why we lost this? Was he the reason we lost this game? But you let me know all your whole solid reasons, or if Carson Wentz should sit out until he's fully healthy. Let me know everything in the comment section. This is Marcus, and until next time, you've been Culture Shock.